Hi, I'm Tyler Banken. I'm here on a complex patio. If you're looking for an urban garden, you're in the right spot. I'm going to show you today how you can construct your own designer look succulent arrangement for half the price of buying one at the store. This is my go-to patio arrangement and I'm so excited to show you my technique today. Okay, in our last episode, I showed you how to make this concrete pot. Now we're putting it to use by using it for our succulent centerpiece. First things first, drainage. Succulents love well-drained soil. We want to be sure to implement in our base pebbles, different sizes I think works best, and then very important to add in charcoal. So charcoal helps to wick away the moisture in the bottom of the pot. You can get that at your local nursery, just be sure it's used for gardening. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start mixing our components together. So we're gonna start with the pebbles, we're gonna start with the charcoal, just kind of throw a little bit in of each, and we're gonna mix it all together to create a little base, maybe just like a half an inch or so at the bottom of the pot. Now it will sit here as opposed to all up in the plant's roots. That's the last thing that we want to do, is to have the plant's roots rot because of too much water. This succulent mix is different because it has a bit of a grit in it. This is really important for the drainage. As you'll see, it's got some pebbles and stuff already implemented into it. I'm going to start with about 2 bowls of this on top of my base. I only want to do that much soil right now because then we're going to start introducing our plants and then we'll add more soil. So before you put the soil in, you can use moss if you would like a separation line in between the rock and the charcoal. It's not a must. I decided not to do it in this one because it's primarily an outdoor arrangement. It's going to dry out fairly quickly. So one of the reasons I just do a little base of soil is because I want to create a layer for our roots to go to. Okay, so our next step is to look at the plants that we purchased at the nursery and go ahead and lay them out into what we think we would like to design. Whenever you are trying to do a designer inspired arrangement, you want to go for different heights, different textures, and different colors. So your feature plant is usually your taller one. So this is going to be our tallest one, and then I went down a size, down a size, down a size, and down a size. As you can see, I went with all different textures. None of these plants are exactly the same. They're either a different color, different texture. You can do groupings of same ones, there's nothing wrong with that, but for this particular arrangement, this is what I chose. Now the next question is, can we get them all to fit? Probably yes, but if not, I would probably take this one out and then probably go with this cluster. This is a really good color and also a good height differentiation. So now let's talk positioning. Many people, their first inclination is to put the highest thing right in the middle. Nothing wrong with that. If that's the look you're going for, go for it. I prefer, as a designer, to maybe have like the weight heavier on one side and then work my way down. So as you can see, our plants are in a stair-step pattern. You're going from here to here, down to here, down to here, down to here. So I like to go ahead before I plant anything, kind of lay them out, have a plan before you're going to start digging. So I'm thinking is doing something here, and then maybe here. I'm going to pop that one in here. Actually, no, let's do this one here, and then here, and then maybe here. Once you have things positioned, it's time to go ahead and take them out of the pot. So I kind of remove everything as I go back, remembering where they are. This can all change. Don't get married to an idea. As you're planting, if something strikes you, you can move it around. It's no big deal. This is your arrangement. Okay, you can basically, to get it out of the pot the best, kind of squeeze the sides and rotate around. And then just take your pot like this. Now with these larger ones, I'm actually going to knock off some of the soil. What this is going to allow me to do is to go ahead and plant the succulent in its new environment with new soil surrounding it. Same roots, new soil. Some may break apart, and that's totally fine. I do like this one being a cluster. Many succulents can be easily separated as well. So there's my cubby. It's much easier whenever they don't break apart, but it's okay. So as you can see, I'm kind of directing my weight from one side, and I'm going to kind of swoop it down this way. That's kind of how the feeling I have for this pot. This also helps to release the roots from their maybe compacted soil. Maybe they were in the nursery for a while. And this allows them to kind of break free and get used to their new home in the fresh soil that you're making them. Once we've got our main feature one in, I think a good idea to do is go ahead and take out 2 plants. So I just took this one out, set it here, and I'm going to take out my next taller one, which would be this one. Once they're out of their pots, they're much easier to place, and you can have a better gauge of where they're going to be and how tight you can pack them. So that way, if you had to choose between one of these, you can do it now rather than dig one up later. So I like to go ahead and add this one in here. I think it's going to look nice. And then I'm going to choose this one just because it's got kind of some red texture, which is a little bit different. And I'm going to put him, actually I'm going to put him over here because I want to implement this one and I don't want these two to get lost together. So then that kind of creates a balance there. Things can change as you go. It's not a problem. Don't just marry yourself to an idea and think you have to cram all these in there. You are the designer here. You have freedom to change things as you go. So now that I kind of have them placed and I know they're going to fit, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So these, I'm just going to loosen them up a bit. And this is a good idea to do this on all your plants. Interior plants, landscaping, trees, roses, everything, anything outside. Take it out of the bucket, kind of rough up the roots a bit, and then plant. So see, I add more soil as I go. So I kind of have my large one banked up here. So he's pretty good to go. He's pretty stable. So now I've got some soil here. I can always take it out, right? So you just want to be sure everything's planted up high enough to where you can A, see it over the pot, but then B, make sure it's going to stay up out of that drainage area. You want to be sure that you're packing soil in around the whole plant. I know it can be tight spaces, especially whenever you're talking between the plant and the pot. One thing to note as well, sometimes as you're planting new succulents, if they're crazy dry, you can add a little bit of water here. And you can do that easily with just a spray bottle. Kind of mist the roots as you plant them once you put them in. This soil that we're putting in is fairly moist, so it should be okay. I will give it a water after we're done planting just to kind of help everything settle. But while you're planting, if you want to add a little bit of water, nothing wrong with that. Succulents do best in full sun. So if you have a entire wall of windows, it will work. But succulents love outside. You know, you may start a project a certain way and think, oh, all right, I got to change now. I've got to do it this way. Or actually, this is better for the situation. You learn as you go. That's very, very tied into plants. Anyone who's owned a plant probably realizes that through maintenance or watering. Kind of learn as you go. Every single plant is different. I think people forget that they are living things. You do have to take care of them, but you also have to get to know them. So you may learn, oh, this guy doesn't like any water, or this guy loves this sun spot. Maybe you have to move things around in the beginning. Nothing wrong with that. One thing we want to be sure to do is make sure that our pot is attractive from all angles. So from your angle you're looking at, from my angle I'm looking at, this is going on a table, so it's going to be viewable from all areas. So it's important to have a feature on each side, which we're doing. We've got a feature over here, we're going to have a feature up here. It's going to be great. As you can tell, we are right in the middle of the city, with all the noise is going. So maybe it's a plant emergency. We had one here, that's why we're making this arrangement. All right, so look at everything here. We're nearly to our finished product. First though, I want to kind of clean up a little bit of the soil. You don't have to get all of it right now. There's a lot of nooks and crannies to clean out. You can do this method, which is pretty cheap. Or you could also get a paintbrush, or if you have like a little brush around the house, I mean, just kind of wash it off really quickly. So we're nearly there. Before our final step, I do like to give everything a little drink so it can kind of settle a bit. As close to the base of the plant as possible. Now, I know we mentioned we do not want to overwater. We can always add more later. This is just to kind of do a preliminary settling of the soil on top here. Whenever I'm adding gravel to anything on the surface, the stuff at the base doesn't really matter as much. Anything on the surface, though, I want to be sure that it's washed out. Rocks have all these different kind of colors and textures, and it's really cool to kind of wash them off and show all of that. Now, there's nothing wrong with this arrangement the way it is. You can totally leave it just the soil. I just like to do the decorative rock because I think it adds just another element of texture, and it's really really giving it that designer look. Your first thought might be to take this bowl of pebbles and dump them in here. It could be faster, right? But let's just focus a little bit more on detail. We've gone this far, let's finish it the right way. I go ahead and spread these with my hands purely because you have the succulents have a lot of these lower lying, and you want to be sure to get up under those. It's a small designer detail to where if some of that gravel shifted, you couldn't just see soil underneath it. You're going to be sure it's covered. All right, so there it is, your DIY succulent arrangement with a designer look. Look how tightly we packed the plants. You planted it yourself and you also made the pot. How much more authentic can you get? Whoever gets this gift, or if it's in your home, you're sure to enjoy it. I'm Tyler Banken, your friendly garden guy. Everything that we did today is available on the website. Hope you enjoy your new succulent centerpiece.